guys, you're back with the Lone Wolf once again. Today's article is from the Daily Mail, and it's written by a woman, about a woman, talking about men. How Also Me has ruined dating. Expert who runs $4,500 boot camps for men claims they become dull nice guys who repel women because they're too scared of looking creepy. Some of the key points. Kezia Noble, 38, from Chelsea, says men now feel pushed into online dating. And there might be those of you out there who've already heard of her. She has a pretty big YouTube channel and runs a consultancy dishing out these dating tips. And she's been around for about a decade now. She appeared on Celebs Go Dating in 2018 and coaches men on how to meet women. Slams online dating, claiming people lie on pics and it only works for hot people. No, she's got that right. Adds women are fed up of woke men and prefer meeting partners organically. Provides tips for men on how to approach women in real life and engage in chat. Alright, so a dating expert has claimed the Also Me movement has made men across the world scared to approach women on the street for fear they'll come across as creepy or be accused of harassment. You're damn right. Like, why would you risk your career future and success and aspirations in life just over the opportunity to date someone? It's just completely irresponsible, and it's a very real risk because of the actions of a albeit small group of moronic, sick, weak men over the years that are finally getting what's coming to them. Kezia Noble, 38, from Chelsea, southwest London, an author who appeared as a coach on Celebs Go Dating in 2018, said many blokes have adopted dull, nice guy filters that actually repel women rather than attract them. The divorced mother of one. She's divorced. Like, how? If she specialises in game and identifying the factors that make men attractive, and she therefore knows what to look for to get a man of value, why is she divorced? Like, why would she not have got the right one? If you know what I mean. Like, surely she should have got the best one. Whose YouTube videos offering dating advice have received 75 million views. She said that while the empowering movement has served a very good purpose, she is concerned about its trickle effect, which has made men feel like they can't talk to or interact with women in real life. I think that was already there before. Before all of this actually happened, it was less and less men were approaching women in general. I think most of us would appreciate that just from our own experience and from what we've been reading. There'd be plenty of articles in the early to mid 2000s looking at this, so I really don't think this is a new thing at all. Kezia added that most women she speaks to say they are fed up with woke men being too nice and bumbling and want a guy to take the bull by the horns and ask them out. Yeah, but they'll do nothing about it, will they? They're the women that she speaks to, but they will do nothing about it to rectify the situation. They won't speak up on men's behalf in the press. I mean, Kezia's sort of doing that here, but not. It's sort of one foot in one camp, one foot in the other camp. You know, women in general, they won't come out, not enough anyway, are coming out in support of men, you know, saying that not all men are complete scumbags. And that's the situation as it is today. She told Female, the Also Me movement served a very good purpose. Harvey's just been convicted, and quite rightly so. There are men in power who abuse it, and this is something that I think most people would say should be clamped down on. My problem is the trickle effect it has had, where it's affecting normal guys approaching women in a bar or on the street. It's being perpetuated like you've got to be super, super respectful to women. You can't invade her space. You can't talk to her. You can't approach her. And then it's kind of like, well, what's left? Well, there is nothing left. But this is the world that we have inherited, and this is the world that has been created by decades of ideology. And, you know, most of us, especially in this environment that sort of go their own way, follow a lone wolf type vibe, we basically understand the game for what it is, and we're walking away and just focusing on our own thing. And that's the most important thing, is safeguarding your own self-determination and freedom. And, you know, you don't have to make that big a mistake. You've got on the one hand, you've got guys like this who are being completely safe, completely like a nice guy vibe, that being completely super respectful, as she said, to preserve, and they're doing it to preserve their own freedom and their own to avoid accusations. And then you've got the others that just don't date. So what have you got left? There's nothing left. I know when I talk to guys now and they approach me and I think, oh God, this is like some weird filter you've got on because you're scared of also me or something, she said. It's a bit dull. It's watering the guy's traits down, his character, his boldness, to make him this nice, inoffensive, bland, forgettable, nice guy. She argued that men can be alpha males without being a so-and-so to women, adding, treat them mean to keep them keen doesn't mean be abusive, it just means don't be so readily available. Yeah, but it's all subjective. What a guy views as being abusive might not be what a girl thinks as being abusive. And you only need to interpret it a particular way for it to be escalated into an accusation. So if it's completely open as to what can be interpreted, so if the whole interaction depends on these sort of subjective interpretations of how a man has behaved, dudes operate in a cost-benefit analysis situation. They're intelligent. They basically analyze a situation and think, what's the payoff if it all goes correctly? And what's the downside? What's my risk? And that's how most men think. And they're basically saying, well, I can either operate this way within the system by being super nice, or I can walk away. And more of us are walking away. And we're quite happy doing that. We're having very productive and enjoyable lives. Show that you have other options, things like that. It's just game strategy which women play on men and men play on women. I just feel like that's getting a bit lost. Kezia operates in the UK and also has a team in the US. She runs weekend workshops costing £487. That's quite a specific number. And 7-day mastery programs for $4,500, as well as offering online training programs and ebooks to help men meet women. $4,500 for a course. I mean, yeah, it's like the price of a car, like a fairly decent car, like a first car for someone. You could put that $4,500 into an investment trust or a fund. She claims the also me fear has pushed men towards dating apps, which she argues don't work because people are judged purely on how they look in a picture, and often those photos are heavily edited and filtered. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you're only going to be successful on dating apps if you're top 10% of men and attractive, and obviously attractive women get all of it. It's a completely skewed environment on dating apps because there's so many more men over women are using them. So it's a rigged game. It's a completely rigged game. And I did do a video on that, so I'll link to it. She added it's also meant many people now lack engaging conversation and flirting skills because they're so used to communicating via text messages. We're not talking to people one-on-one in real life, so our social skills are not in good shape, she argued. A lot of women say, this guy was so witty in his text messages, but when I saw him, he was a social freak and it was really awkward. Again, subjective. He might have friends that find him really entertaining. This is part of the reason she urges singletons to ditch dating apps, something she has never used herself. We can agree on that. We can agree that you need to ditch dating apps. But her reasons are completely different to mine. I think you should just ditch them full stop and just not use them. And ditch dating. And just focus on your own life. I know that with all my ex-boyfriends, if I'd seen them on a dating app, I would never have swiped right, she said. It's not just about looks, and this is the terrible thing. The only people that are doing really well from dating apps are good-looking people. She's right there. She is right. You're just looking for your type of person. You're not going to look at someone and go, oh, maybe. When you meet people in real life, you see them in the bar interacting with others, you think, oh, there's something about that person, the way they move, their eye contact. I had this experience a couple of years ago. Immediately I was like, no, thank you. And then I got talking to him and I was like, oh, gosh, wow. I called him the Thunderbolt because I was like, where did that come from? One of the skills She teaches this conversational clickbait using tailored talking points that will hook people in and make them more curious and invested in the interaction. I always say to my guys, work massively on conversation, because when you know that you can go and have an engaging conversation with anybody and not be sitting there going, oh, I hope we have something in common, what happens is that you can connect, you relax, your anxiety relaxes, you're able to get a vibe. I always say, think about what your 3 best selling points are, think about what you've got going for you, and bring that to the forefront of a conversation. A lot of guys will say, she has to get to know me, but no, she doesn't. It's not that simple. You have to market yourself very quickly, listen, and don't come out with the same crap everyone else does. If she says, I'm from Spain, rather than going, what part, how long have you been here for, replace that generic with something like, you know what, I've never been there. Tell me 2 things that make it an incredible place to visit. It's minor conversation alterations that can make a huge difference. When people say, just be your confident best self, that doesn't translate. It's too vague. Kezia, whose clients vary in age from their 20s to their 50s and hail from all walks of life, said most men she coaches say they receive better responses from women on the street or in a cafe or bar now than they did 5 years ago. Women are saying, this is so nice to have a conversation with someone. Someone is approaching me, rather than just having conversations on dating apps. I don't hear women complaining about men approaching them. If she's single and you're going there and having an authentic conversation with her, I think most women are going to be quite engaged with that. It all depends on how the approach is interpreted, and if the woman's into you. If the woman isn't into you, it'll be interpreted as creepy and dodgy. If she is into you, then you might get a positive outcome. But it's very hard to gauge that, and again, it's playing a risk game. And the costs of it not working out are absolutely, can be devastating. So most of us, we're not taking that risk because we only get one life. We don't want to ruin it. And of course, she's saying that in this article. I can find dozens of other articles where women have written about being, quote unquote, harassed in the street or approached by weirdos, and they're complaining about it. So, yeah, I think she's in the minority. Kezia pointed out that dating apps are not necessarily a safe place to meet men because you can't get a good impression of someone's vibe. Again, subjective. I know when I go to meet a guy, I trust my instincts. I know when someone's a bit off. I can't explain it. It's an eye contact thing. I think it can be quite dangerous to meet someone you don't know. It creates a very easy hookup culture and people get ghosted all the time. If you meet someone in real life and you go on a date, you're more likely to invest in it a bit more. Yeah, there's stuff about her website. Let's just have a look at a few of the comments. If they actually load up. The Daily Mail website is notorious for adverts and garbage that slows the site down. Yeah, the comments. We've actually got some gold in the comments. If a bloke wants to date a female, then he needs a lawyer, an advisor, film crew, several witnesses around, then there's no comeback about what he said or did. Yeah. An opinion for you from Birmingham. Brilliant. Hat, yeah, ditch the dating apps and join my coaching for $4,000. Yeah, okay, love. Such nonsense. It's a minefield with the prize rarely worth the trouble or risk. Yeah, absolutely, man. Step on that mine, blow your leg off. Nice to have friends that can give your business a great write-up in a national newspaper. Lovely free advertising. These guys are 100% tuned in. So also me and effinism have women complaining that men aren't exciting or spontaneous anymore and that men won't ask them out or approach them. Perhaps more women should speak up for guys when the effinists and the left mainstream media are making us look like the scourge of society. You can't have it both ways. Again, I applaud the comment. How to be a dating expert. Look hot, get dates. I'm an expert. Someone here keeping it real. You can be respectful without being nice. Works fine for me. Only weak-minded men are dictated to about how to naturally behave, and they've been ratioed on that comment. Just going to have to bite the bullet and ask the guys out yourselves. Call it equality. Yeah, brilliant. The problem is there seems to be an agenda to feminize Western males to the point that we become irrelevant. As a result, every week there are takes of terror perpetrated by, they don't know how to construct sentences. So, I hope you found value in that critique of the article. it doesn't matter what she comes out with. The dating landscape is as it is, and it's broken and it's busted. And certainly a $4,500 boot camp isn't going to help, and in fact it's probably going to hinder. If you're a young man with $4,500 available, I wouldn't blow it on, you're basically paying the fish to teach you how to fish, which is completely insane. So if you've got that $4,500, go ahead and put it into an investment, a tax-free investment account in whatever country you're in. If that option's available, start investing, or use it to educate yourself, develop highly valuable skills. Don't waste it on a boot camp. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the critique, and I'll see you next time.